Wow. So the second half of Vermland and Delsland breaks off from Niles, who's gotten a bit of trouble with a brown owl, who's decided, oh, this is something that I can eat, to go to a woman who has been considering writing a book for children about Sweden, but is completely blocked, cannot seem to get up the thing. And she realizes, like, well, maybe it's because I'm just like stuck in the city here. And if I went back to my old homestead in Vermland, where my family, I grew up with my family, maybe that will jog it. And indeed, as she comes back, she gets dropped off and she's kind of walking there in the evening, doesn't want to be kind of swamped by strangers immediately. She wants to kind of take in the place. She thinks about her old life there. And yes, it had changed, but in the moonlight, it didn't seem as if it had changed. And she remembers all the kind of activities and work and festivities and customs, the time when they would do when they would make clothes, when the guy would come along and make everybody's shoes, all the kind of preparations for Christmas and stuff like that. And she's thinking about all this when she comes around the corner and sees a midget, no more than a hand's breadth, probably even smaller hands than mine, wrestling with a brown owl. And she separates the combatants, and the brown owl flies up into the tree, and the little midget says, "Oh, you should have kept it down here. Now I can't get away." It's like, well, could you find me a place to sleep until morning? It's like, oh, this isn't your place? It's like, no, I've been traveling all over Sweden. And can it's like, oh, really? Can you tell me your story? And indeed, he does. Niles does tell Selma Lagerlöf in the entire story. So we have, and it's beautiful actually, of her own kind of nostalgia for her youth. And she gets when she comes up, there's some doves that kind of alight around her, and it's like, oh, they're doing it in the night. They don't usually do this in the night. And she thinks about her father, who loved doves and didn't want any of them, harmed or killed. And she says, well, maybe the father sent the doves to me. And she asks the doves, would you go and send a message to my father saying, I would like to come home, basically. Won't you fly to father and tell him I long to come home? I have wandered long enough in strange places. Ask him if he couldn't arrange it so that I may soon turn back to my childhood's home. Maybe acknowledging that this conjures up all the memories. This is no longer her childhood home. That's a thing that's lost in the past. But instead finds Niles and says, oh, well, maybe this was the answer to my prayers. What luck to run across one who's traveled all over Sweden on the back of a goose, thought she. Just this which she is relating I shall write down in my book. Now I need no more to worry over the matter. It was well that I came home, to think that I should find such help as soon as I came to the old place. And indeed, she says she's gets this thought of about her father, and it's like, almost immediately she had received help in the matter, and she pondered so long. Might not this be the father's answer to her prayers? So it's very sweet, very sweet. And I quite like that. We're at 93%, so we're coming to the end, but it's interesting that Selma Lagerlöf herself makes an appearance in her book, meeting Niles, to learn all his stories about his travels around Sweden. Yeah, it's lovely. It's kind of humbling. It's humbling for the author, oh, I just got this dictated it down from Niles. It's also kind of fits the kind of the story kind of aspect of this, of I was told this by little Niles Holgersson, transformed into an elf. More videos later.